Hi, Pankaj. Welcome to Global Influencers Hub. Here we talk about the life journeys of influencers, social media influencers, and we cannot wait to deep dive into yours. When we talk about deep diving, we mean actually deep diving and talking about childhood. So let's start from Pankaj as a child.
Yeah, I was a very naughty child. I was in my, the extended family. Everybody used to mm, be very terrified if I'm around. So I was an angry young man sort of a person, which tapered on when I aged up. And now,
Had to. Given the kind of responsibilities you had and the rich and varied career, you had to.
yeah.
Okay, so what happened? Like, what? Talk to us about your schooling. Share some stories. Interesting.
Yeah, so and my schooling, my father was in roadways, UP roadways, so we were on a transferable position. So we used to shift our schools every 2, 3 years. So I studied at Varanasi, Allahabad, Aligarh, Faizabad, so number of schools, and I finally passed out from St. John's School, DLW, and it was. Uh, I mean, every time you go and you meet new people, find new challenges, and then study a different course. Like when we got transferred to Ayodhya, which is like Faizabad earlier, now Ayodhya. So when I went there, so they had a UP board. So I was always in a, ISC board and ICSE and ISC, and then suddenly I was going into an UP board exams, and I had to study Sanskrit for my board to qualify. And at that time we had boards even class 8th. So all those challenges we had, then come back to Varanasi, and then you're again back to your convent education and schooling, and also so all those had remarkable challenges all the time, and then you overcome that. So it was quite a fun.
Of course, of course. So after that, what happened?
After that, I shifted to Allahabad, Prayagraj, and I studied. I did my college from there in Allahabad University, and I wanted to become an IAS officer, so I gave a couple of times exams. And I got qualified in the PCS mains and all of that, but finally I couldn't qualify and become an IAS officer or so. So and then there were a lot of political turmoils and changes in policies that made me decide that it's better that I get into the private world and do something great. So in fact, I was one of the first ones to think about the private organizations and going into corporates. And most of my family members were in the government, so they were never very happy that why I'm trying to get into the private world. It could easily be into the government job. And I felt that, I want to make a lot of money and I don't want to earn it through the wrong means. So therefore, I don't want to be in the government now. I want to be in the corporate, earn lots of money for myself, enjoy and have fun. So that's what happened after that. So I did my graduation, and then I did my post graduation from Allahabad only, from Motilal Institute of Research and Business Administration. And post that, after MBA, I got into the job in the corporate world.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, talk to us about your journey in the automobile industry.
Yeah, so I always had a passion for automobiles, and I used to love going on bikes and cars. And so I got my first opportunity with Escorts. I was into a unit of Escorts which was into the hardcore engineering products like piston rings, and selling that. And a very famous brand called Mahale, which is a German brand again, and Gutse, which is a piston ring brand of Germany again, and both these brands were being marketed by Escort. So I got into that, into initially into the planning, and then into the sales, and then sales and marketing and promotions and all of that. So that was very interesting, and uh, I always had very high ambitions right from my school and college days. I
Of
used to
course.
share with my friends, one day I will be interviewed by newspapers and television channels, and they will ask me how have you achieved this. And people used to laugh at me, and I used to say, no, no, it's going to happen, don't worry. And so I always had that dream of doing big things. And
Of
when
course.
I got into the automobile, my first job, and all the interviews that I gave for entering into the corporate world, they would ask me which is still being asked, that where will we see you after 8 to 10 years? And so I would say that all the time, I would say that, I would be a general manager in some big company. So the interview that selected me was actually Scott Smith, the big boss there, and he said, you know, yeah, it's possible, but how would you achieve that? And one of the person sitting in the interview ultimately became my boss. He said that you have a very high ambition. It's not possible. You are a MBA from Allahabad, and I'm a FMS Delhi graduate, and I'm a IIT Delhi pass out. I have been in the industry for 20 years. I have not become general manager. How would you become in 8 to 10 years time? So in the interview, I shared that I don't know about you, sir, but I know that I will become. And
That's good. Yeah. Wonderful, of course.
so the later on, the big boss who was there, who became my mentor also later on, Mr. CP Tripathi, he said that after you went out of the interview, I told this guy, he's underestimating himself. He'll become vice president in that time. So so that's how it was. And I went into this escorts company. The moment I joined in, I got a shock of my life, because the HR head told me that this is the company where you would get promoted every not before 3 years. So it would take 3 years for you to get next promotion. Being eligible for consideration for the promotion, normally it takes 3 to 5 years for everybody to get promoted, and there are 15 years before you can become a general manager. So that gentleman said, look, I told you, you will not be able to do this, and you have to make a very ambitious plan. So I said, no, no, no problems. I started working and showing the results and doing difference. What a young mind always plans to do something extraordinary, something extra that you do in your work. And in that 5 years, I worked with that company, and in that I got four promotions. And
Fantastic.
and the fifth promotion, they were not giving me. They were saying you are too junior to get into this position at this stage. And I left them and joined at the fifth position of that company, equivalent position at Hero Motors. So that is how it started. The initial journey was very interesting, working for a brand like Escort, which was pretty big that time, and also to make a difference in such a way that you get recognition from your top bosses and you get out of term promotions and all. So that really.
Right. Now, how have these early experiences shaped your leadership style of today?
Yeah, it's like every time that I met with a great guy, great leader, I always try to see what is very unique and different in this person, why he
Of
has become that, and if I want to get into his position, what qualities I should have. So I'll always look at that. So I work with,
observation.
yeah, motivation, that this is the guy like CP Tripathi. I took the name. He's works for a charitable organization now. He's 75 years plus, but he's a head of a hospital in Aurangabad, and he's still running. So he's a very energetic person, and I used to get very fascinated with the way that he used to deal things with, multiple tasks with cool headed. He will take all the decisions, and everybody will praise him. Then I went into another organization, Hero. So I worked with Munjals, Brijman Munjalji. I got opportunity to interact multiple times with him. And then OP Munjalji used to work very closely with me. And Pankaj Munjal, I was working with the mopeds and scooters division then. So I got some very good insights from them. Okay, what to do, what not to do, and the moment you get that, uh, you feel that, yeah, this is something coming from an icons, and so let me take the key gist from here and implement that into my life. So that really helped me to understand, like for example, normally in the business there are two ways that you can do business. One is that you sell your product and then seek money from the market, and the second is that you say, okay, I'll sell your product, but before that you have to give me money, otherwise I will not give you my product. So I learned that at Hero, where Mr. Munjal, my predecessors used to give a lot of credit. So Mr. Munjal once became very angry in one of the meetings where I had just joined in, and my predecessor was sitting with me. He's got transferred to another position, but he was part of that team. And he said, "Why did you give credit to this person? He's a member of parliament. You'll never be able to get this money. Who gave you power to give this kind of a credit to this person?" And I was like, that was a lesson to me. That means that this person gives credit to increase the business, and the other person does not give the money back, or it delays the money, and therefore you are stuck and your business is not able to grow. So I learned that you should never do a business where you give credit, and I implemented that. So much so that I joined Yamaha. At that time, it was 100% credit company. I converted that company into a 100% advance company. So
Fantastic. Wow.
ever since that, I never gave credit in the marketplace. So my policy is very clear that if I'm doing business, my strategy is good. You should pay me in advance. Otherwise, I'm not going to do the service and then go after you to say, please give my
So
money.
get the money.
Yeah.
Right, right, right.
If you think
Yeah.
my skills are enough, or my product is good enough, pay me money in advance. Otherwise, I'm not doing business with you. So that is something that is very great that I learned, and I kept learning from with various leaders that I worked upon.
Can you share a fun story during those days which still bring a smile on your face?
Yeah, this is a very interesting, fun story. Was this episode of giving credit?
It
I'll
is.
not
It
name
is.
the Mr. Munjal. He used very strong words to this person. तेरे प्यू दे पैसा है क्या? Yes, that means that it's your father's money that you give this credit to him.
Uh,
So this is something which was very interesting to me, a great learning. But at the same time, the way that your actions is being monitored by the top management, and if you make any mistake, you will be pulled upon for things. So I took it as a very serious thing, but at the same time, it was a great learning as well.
of course, of course. But I think fantastic, fantastic journey right there itself. The
Yeah,
twist is very interesting. There's a twist in the story. So
yeah.
it's a very interesting one. Now, entrepreneurial independence from corporate leadership. How did that happen? Like, what triggered that? The entrepreneurial, um, element in you, which where you thought that let me leave Polaris and
So
start DSPI.
my entrepreneurial abilities, I never knew that I'm an entrepreneur. As a student, as a 20 or 30-year-old person, I always used to think that I'll go to the corporate ladder and become general manager, and that's it. I'll be head of sales and marketing. I never even dreamt that I would become a CEO of a organization, a multinational company. So from there to that level, and then to think of entrepreneurship as something which is like never imagined in my childhood.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
And what
yeah.
happened was that the moment we started working with leaders like who are entrepreneurs, I worked very closely with Mr. Munjals, I worked very closely with Singhanias, and then I worked very closely with the Japanese and the Americans, and I started learning things from there, and that is when they used to say, "Yeah, you have a very entrepreneurial abilities. You think always like an entrepreneur. You don't think like in my office." At Polaris, I had put up a big signboard at the back that the company's money is think it as if it is your own checkbook. Don't think that company's money, so you start signing everything.
Oh my God, that is so interesting. So interesting. Because I just had a conversation with one of my team members today itself that's saying that, always switch your mindset from an employee mindset to an owner's mindset.
Yes. So
Very important. Things just magically change after that.
yeah, so I would say no. It's like when you're signing a check, should be like I'm paying from my own pocket. That's how you should
Absolutely.
spend. And what is the
Yeah.
value I'm going to add to the company, and what is the return the company is going to get on the every check that I'm going to sign. So
Yep.
that is something which is very unique. And I thought that things like that, small things you pick up, and then it becomes your. So the my bosses used to say that you become like you think like an entrepreneur, but later on I the first big thing happened when I shifted from Hero. I went to LML, I launched their Freedom motorcycle, which became a grand success. And from there, I joined an IT company called Intex Technologies. So there was
Okay.
my boss, who was the executive director at LML, and he was prior to that he was with Daewoo and Maruti Suzuki, but he had also IT experience. So he joined as a CEO in Text Technologies, and he said, Pankaj, come over and join me. Very nice guy, Mr. Maheshwari. And he said, Pankaj, join me. And I had nothing, no knowledge about the IT industry except that I was using laptops and computers. So I said, sir, I don't know anything how to sell. I'm an automobile guy. He said, hey, I know your abilities. Please do come and join. And I went there, joined, and that IT company was a small company at 117, 18 crores. It became 350 crores in 2 years' time. And then there was a challenge thrown by the management to say that, okay, think something beyond the box and bring out products and all that. So everybody was thinking, I will launch this, I will launch that. But I went and launched mobile phone for them. So Intex mobile phone was my brainchild. I launched that
Fantastic.
product.
Wow. Okay, cool.
So I
Congratulations.
Thanks. So, in fact, when I gave the idea, the chairman said, Pankaj, if this is not successful, we will close down. This will not successful, then the company will be over. I said, no, sir, it will not close down. It will be known for this only. You will be known for mobile phone, not for your core product that you are selling right now. And this is exactly what happened. The company turned out to be 8,000 crore later on. But what it gave me, the insight, the biggest learning for me was that you are not an automobile guy. You have the ability that you can
Of an
harness, you
entrepreneur.
can go beyond automobiles, you can go into IT company, launch their telecom and make it successful. So that gave me the idea that I can do something. And in fact, then I went to Yamaha, and Yamaha was in a verge of closure. The Economic Times article stating Yamaha to shut shop in India. And that is when I joined, and people started saying, "Oh, your career is going to end because Yamaha is anyway going to shut. And nobody's going
Mhm.
to hire you from here on." But Yamaha became a grand success, and it turned around, and everything became a talk of the industry. And that is when Polaris came to India, and they wanted me to join. In fact, before Polaris, Harley Davidson asked me to head their India division, but I refused to meet them. I said, no, 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 you don't have a business prospect in India, so I don't think that I should join you. I'm happy with Yamaha. Then Polaris came, they tried to convince me. Initially, I rejected them. No, no, it's not possible. Then they convinced me and I joined them. And that is when, I, the biggest challenge was that, startup, like I did the startup for telecom at Intex, which is where my chairman said, "Bhai, I don't have any experience of telecom. You are the business head of this. You decide how, what people you want, and hire and start this business." So that became my first startup experience, thanks to Intex. And then when I came into Polaris, I gave a call to my boss, sir, where I have to join. He said, look for an office and start. You are the first person in the company. Now you decide how it has to be done. So that was my second entrepreneurial journey where I had to hire people and then decide the business plan and execute, create everything in the whatever entrepreneurs do, like, but on the somebody else's money. So like I was not putting my
Exactly.
I was putting it
Exactly. Exactly. But nevertheless, the learning was there.
absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
So that's where I learned and I honed my skills of entrepreneurship, that how the business has to be started from zero to a big company and make it profitable and all of that. So that was something which really inspired me. And then I launched my dream was to extend the products, and we launched a small car with a joint venture with Eicher company. I
Hmm.
became a CEO and director in that company as well. So when we launched that, this gave me another third opportunity to do a startup in a joint venture situation. So while I did that, I was a leader for about 10 years for Polaris in India, and then COVID is stuck, and by that time, 10 years is a very long time. You whatever ideas you have, you already implemented, and that's when this mind started growing that shall I do only for one company and start doing something for multiple. That is when the idea of DSpin got born, and I launched this company immediately after leaving Polaris. And the idea was that we support multiple startups, whether it is and not restricted to automobiles, because I am more known in the automobile field, but I also was head of business of telecom, and I was I was sales and marketing head for IT industry. So then I thought that why restrict? So therefore, I have now in my D-Spin, we are trying to help out companies, get global companies enter into India, which are into education field, help out automobile companies who are into the entrepreneurs, in automobiles, and help them out to scale up and beyond, because they feel that I can help them in their core business. They are busy, but they want to expand to a new segment, and they think that I can help them the rest. So I am helping some of the existing companies as well. So like that, a very varied field of supporting companies on entrepreneurship and new startups, scaling up the current startups. There are food industries where I'm giving them advices on how to scale up their business. So it's quite interesting, and
Fantastic. I'm going to be in touch with you on another initiative that I'm working on. It's called Youngpreneurs. It's
oh,
about instilling entrepreneurial mindset in teenagers and beyond.
Oh,
So,
that's what I do when I am the mentor of change at Niti Aayog. So
yes,
I've adopted, few schools where at the school level, at the teenager levels, we see that what is the skills that they have, and then help them
correct.
out to see that if tomorrow they have to start up a company, we can really help them from ground zero to everything in the business.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I'd like to hear a little bit more about your entrepreneurial journey. That in one of my projects, I was very closely working with one of the ex-CEOs of a very reputed multinational company, and he became an entrepreneur. And now, of course, you kind of have these checks all of a sudden, because he was managing about more than 30,000 people, and now he's um managing two people. So that's a huge transition,
Yeah,
given that you have everything served on a beautiful platter to you, and now you are actually wearing so many hats that you lose count of. That
yeah,
you are the personal secretary, you are this, you are that, you are the digital, everything is you. So at times, he's also a very dear friend. So at times I've had to tell him that, this is not XYZ company. You have to understand that this is a startup. So that part, how do you, given the kind of corporate leadership positions you've enjoyed and done it so beautifully, how do you, how do you convince yourself of that as well? Because I know a lot of CEOs and MDs like you who are also interested in pursuing entrepreneurship.
yeah. So I'm very fortunate guy. I learned through big companies where there were large teams present, and then I joined a company like Polaris. Before that, I'll give you an example. I was working for my first company as course, and there was a German who came in. His name was Mr. Weipert, and he came to India and he started checking about how many people we have, and he asked me, Pankaj, how many people are there in your team in sales? And I said, sir, we have about 100 people looking after the marketing here. And then there are so many people who are looking after sales and service, and also like 300 people there. So what? So I said, how many people do you have in Germany? So we are three people, and we look after the complete world from Germany. I said, what? How did you do that? And he explained, how we do it and all of that. So I really learned a lot. But that was just like theory to me, because he was telling me and I was listening. But when I came to Polaris, I was like entrepreneur now. I have my own budgets, and within that budget, I have to work. So I can't have 200 people and pay 200 people. And then I realized that the when you do a startup, you have to be like very smart on where to spend your money and how much return you can have, and who are the people who are going to have it in your team, the initial startup team, who are self starters, you know
Absolutely.
and have them part of your team. And so you have to have somebody who is like very unique, and the business model that you have, the company that you're starting, what is the need of that company, like what is the
Mm.
product of the company, who's going to be using that. So based on that, you decide your what is the kind of people that you want to hire, and that's the most important thing in making any startup successful. So as an entrepreneur, I learned this that and all of this learning came in at the expense of Polaris. So whatever learnings, mistakes I did, I mean Polaris had to bear that cost of that. But then that really gave me that I was able to make that company profitable. So that really helped me that what needs to be done. And there was like parallel examples of Polaris. Like there was a China team, there was a Japan team, there was an Australia team. So you interact with them, and then you learn that how what scale of people they have. And then I was told how many people you want to have, and I said, okay, I will start with 5 people only. And then you start with 5 people, and then you run into a 10 or 12 people, and then you run a full-fledged company with just 10, 12 people around. That is something unimaginable when you are into the big company and you're leading yourself. You're not in the startup. But tomorrow that company becomes very big, then you will also have more people. But then at a startup stage, instead of thinking, in my previous company, they were like in one department there were 10 people. Now you are saying that I'm going to run this company with 5 people. How is it possible? It's not possible. So those are the bottlenecks that you have. You just overcome this the moment you gain some experience. So I was very fortunate that I got experience from Polaris. And then when I started this respin, my idea was very clear that I don't want too many people around. I will have a consortium of people, and we will have companies come into the country or any company required. And based on that, we'll deploy the team for that project. That okay, this is what it is. So the life is sorted. There is nothing that you will make losses and learn the hard way. I've learned it through the corporate only, and so I'm implementing all of that.
I have to say that's an envious journey. That is a very, very envious journey. Entrepreneurs grow through losses.
I've been very fortunate. I've
But you've been so fortunate that you've had the entire experience at someone else's expense, which is wonderful. And now you can completely utilize that for your own. I think that's a beautiful thing. Now, a little bit on you being mentor at Niti Aayog and, of course, a part of STAIRS. Now, how do you think leadership can be harnessed for social change?
Yeah, so this has to be coming from within. It's very difficult to share anything with anybody that or do something for social cause.
Of course.
Basically, it's at the education level itself. You start teaching that how you do these things and what is the impact of the society have on whatever activities that you're doing. This is something which needs right from the childhood. Unfortunately, our education has been mostly focused on mugging up and then vomiting into the classroom and how
Just do a
close
job and then do a job.
so then do a job. So that is where I think the concern for others and all of that qualities needs to be developed from right from the childhood. Though there are natural, like there are people who have a lot of concern for others naturally, but from the education point of view, I feel that that should be made part of the system where people learn these basics of life and then implement those into the corporate life. Now, as leaders, I think always one has to think about that we are doing certain activity. What we can do while we're doing this activity, how can we make a social impact? For example, I was like part of the Polaris's big motorcycle called Indian Motorcycle. So I launched their big bikes like Chieftain, Roadmasters, those are all bikes which starts at 15 lakhs and goes to 55 lakhs. Now you get
Wow.
build up like Harley Davidson product range, and they do rides all over the country. And we said, okay, for us also we need to organize those rides so people who buy our products get an opportunity to ride and go. But I said, why not do something for a social cause along with that? Like you go ride from Delhi to Bombay and then Chennai and come back enjoying having like parties and come back. I said, no, let's build something around it. So I decided that let's do one thing and make a difference, and we choose girl child education. Okay,
Fantastic.
we need
Wonderful.
something around girl child. So whichever city that we ride, it was mandated that you have to find out who's doing a good job in girl child education visit them, honor them, give them a certificate that you're doing a great job in a gathering and all. Like in an evening party that these people have, we will invite them, give them a reward, and also at the same time find out what is not there in that school premises. Suppose, and we found that in some school there were not even table and chair. There's some school they had everything, but they didn't have any audio visual equipment. You know how difficult it is for us to teach today without an audio visual equipment, where everybody has a mobile phone, but in the school you have just basic things through a 2D. You have to explain everything, so it's so difficult. So we said, okay, the we said, okay, let's give them the television set, which is like a modern, and it can be connected with your gadgets, so that you can display or show the video to the children that how it is to be implemented. Like that, we identified somewhere the student used to come from a distance, so we tied up with Hero to say, okay, can you give us some bicycles to these youngsters so that they don't have to walk all the way. So like that, small things we did, and it made a huge impact all over the country.
Huge impact.
So that's what I think, that to make a societal impact, you have to know, you have to be, first of all, be privy to something, a problem, that this is the problem and what is the solution that we can provide.
Hmm.
And the moment you have that attitude to help others, or you have concern for others, you'll find out a way. And I think that there are many good organizations in the country who are doing great jobs on almost every very aspect that they are passionate about. Some are doing good for the natural resources, plantations, and some are doing for women empowerment, girl child education. So there's things like that. I feel that all leaders should think on one social impact, and that is what they should stand for throughout their life. Okay, I am here, so this will be, I will make an impact.
So the intent has to be there. The intent has to be there, and that has to be backed by action.
Yes, and always
Basically.
you have to think on, like, your what is the main task, but can you link something social along with that? So that
Right.
will make it more meaningful to yourself also. Like today, I
Absolutely.
take pride.
Absolutely.
I take pride that, okay, we did rides, but we did this also. So it gives
Right.
me this satisfaction that we just didn't go on a bike and had just the long rides, and in the evening had parties, and that's it. Now we say that, okay, we went there and we made an impact on the lives of the people. So that makes you much happier, and it also, it both ways, you're giving back to the society and you get happiness within you.
Fulfillment.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, top 50 Indian icon and intellectual icon. So, what do these accolades mean to you? And how have they, you think that, how have they shaped your leadership approach, your leadership style, just overall?
It's I would say that these are just recognitions, and I'm fortunate that I got that reward and award by people who matter. So what I feel is that I must make a difference into the world. I don't go in that I should get this award or that award. You should, from your heart, from your pure intent, you do something good for the society or for the difference that you want to make, and be very innovative. One very small thing, maybe for all entrepreneurs, in fact, for all the children, all the youth who want to really make it big in their life. My learning has been that every time if you have to make a difference into something of a business or whatever thing, or even a sports, there is only one thing, one word, and that is extra.
Absolutely. You just nailed it. Of course, you nailed it.
It says that, okay,
Fantastic. Absolutely. Absolutely.
so if you are doing a
Going that extra mile is everything, is the mileage that you get.
So I give example, in a 100-meter race, everybody runs, but somebody wins. Why? Why that person wins? Whereas every 100 meters, like I can understand 40 miles, but when it is 100 meters, I mean I can run. But there is a difference, the synchronization, and everything is great. All of them are masters, but somebody wins by fraction of a second. The only difference is that what is extra, whether it start very well or the synchronization better, or at the finish line you're just able to put your body in front, which others are not able to do. So what is that extra that you built into your activity that's making you successful? So whether
Absolutely.
it's the business itself, there's a crowded market, what should I do? Go with your thing, that what extra that you can do. The
Yeah.
small extra. There's so many examples today. Like you have, the online businesses started during the COVID time, but then we had delays. You order today, you get 3 days later, and then claim Blinkit extra 10 minutes delivery.
Extra 10 minutes. Yeah. Seriously. Amazing.
And then
Exactly.
you give the order and
Yeah.
you go back thinking, and the bell rings, and what? Who is there? And the person is delivering what you ordered. So that is the extra. So think about
Yeah.
what extra that you can deliver all the time, and
All the time.
and
That can become a life mantra as well, I feel.
absolutely.
You
And
know,
ordinary things and extraordinary things. There is only one difference, which is that extra word.
extra.
So
Beautiful. I'm going to make sure that this is the takeaway from this conversation of ours. Now, tell us about one piece of advice or leadership advice that you would give to someone who's starting out in the automobile journey or, any industry. Maybe in the automobile industry more because, since you've been such an icon there as well. So we can talk a little bit about that, and maybe that will help someone who's aspiring uh, to pursue a similar path as yours.
So, first of all, to be successful in any business, and especially in automobile, any business that you get into, you have to be passionate about it. I mean, you have to be like, whether when you say that I want to get into automobile, you should be very passionate about cars and bikes, and the moment you see it, you feel excited. That's coming from within, rather than saying that I want to get into automobile. That is why I'm excited. No, no, no. It's because you feel excited. That is why you want to get into the
That
automobile.
is, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and the moment any entrepreneurs get into this space, which he's always excited about, and that is the thing that one should find out what makes him excited, what makes him very happy. And you get into that field, that's the first thing that you must decide. Where you should go is the first thing that you should decide rightly. And then never follow what others have done. You will say that, okay, this is an established company. Now in automobile, you want to enter, and there are like all established players. Now you say that I'm going to fight with Hero and Bajaj, you will be like Roger left, right, and center. So what you have to think on, okay, I'm going there in that I'm very passionate, but I will create a small niche which Hero and Bajaj is not able to think today. So now I will get into that niche and make something extra there and make it successful. And that is how and then I'll grow one by one, one by one, one by one. There are many examples of this, like you can learn from how, Hero was the number one motorcycle company in the country, and it became, the world's largest motorcycle company because of Hero and Honda partnership. And then Honda came in that we want to launch our own scooters and motorcycles separately. How that company started, you know, they started very small and then started making small steps and very systematically, small, and now they've become a big force in our country also. So that's when you are going into starting any business in automobile, you have to be, don't just go against the biggies, because you'll be finished in no time at all. So what you have to do is that you have to think about a small part of the business, and then in that small part you be the best. That's how. And how will you be the best? Think about what extra you will give which others are not giving right now. And the moment you do that and start making it successful, and then you make one product, two product, three product, and then keep expanding. So like, and also you have also always to keep what are the resources available with you, and you have to be within that resources to make it happen. A good manager is one who manages things with the resources he has, rather than all the time crib about, oh, Hero had a budget of 1,000 crore marketing. How will I compete with them with 50,000?
Exactly.
Huh?
Very true. Yeah, yeah.
So no, you have to think about, I don't have 100 crores or 200 crores. Then how will I make my company successful? I'll make it successful in a small area. They are making it all India. But say I decide that I am in Kolkata, so I'm in uh, Salt Lake City area, so I'll make this area only successful. So that's how you have to small things in a small area, and then you slowly expand, and then you make within the resources available. So many times the resources are not enough, and that is why you are not able to make your company successful, and you have to shut down most of the time. So this is where maximum focus has to be for anybody who is starting. that one, why would your product or services that you want to start will be taken by the end user, and what you are giving, and what is that extra in that, and how would you build all that resources to make it successful to deliver the product, and how would you think about after sales service, because automobile the most important thing is after sales service. Like you buy
Oh,
a
wow. Okay.
FMCG product, and you buy a product and you go home and then you're done with it if you like it or not like it. But in an automobile, you take a vehicle, the vehicle is going to stay with that person for 5 years or 10 years. And during that 5 years or 10 years period, he will come multiple times to you to get his vehicle serviced. So that's an opportunity for you also. And also at the same time, you have to ensure that he's happy and he's coming back to you. So those kind of services that you are giving, and if you ensure that, your next business will become very easy. Next time he'll come and buy from you only. So most of the time, this is very nicely executed by jewelers. Most of us have a very fixed jewelry shop. I'll go and buy from that only. Why? Because that
Very true.
person's
Yeah.
behavior is very nice. So you have to build your business in a way that your shop, your services are the best, and the customer comes back to you like a jewelry shop. How can you do that? That is where your mind has to be applied, and that is where you have to build in. So these are some of the basic things that one should take care, and you should always check on the resources to make that you have the enough resources to sustain for at least the period that you can break even, and then you start in any
I
business.
think after sales service, I think this can be a very, very important element in pretty much every business, I would say.
Absolutely. You see Amazon, why they have become very successful? Because of the after sales. You don't like the product, they take the return.
Yeah.
And most easy return that policies that you can ever think. And thanks to Jeff that he's thought about this idea and he's
Of
made this.
course.
Everybody's a fan of Amazon because of this reason. Even if you get a bad product, you know that it will be taken back, so there's no problem at all. So the confidence level on the brand is very high. That is what we must attempt to build in. How can we build? That is a challenge, but you have to think about how can we make it happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, highs and lows of entrepreneurship. How are you managing that? And also tell us a little bit about, some stress busters that Pankaj Dubey goes to.
Yeah. So
How do you manage the whole space of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so entrepreneurship, yes, it's a lot of highs and lows that happen. Sometimes you're on the top of the world and you have just got a big order, and now you say that, okay, now we have to execute for next 3 years. I'm busy, and suddenly you have another challenge, and some bottlenecks happen or the policy change happen, and you lose a business, or so there is the lows happening. What is important to keep your motivation going and to keep your efforts continuous is to celebrate the small wins. Every time that you do something, there is a small success. Like if I have to achieve, again, I'll give you example from say Pizza Hut. You go and have a pizza and there's a bell there. So you like it, then you go and ring the bell. So in your business, when you're doing something, you ring that bell in your business. Okay, I had a plan of achieving 1,000 sales. Right now I've done two, but then I've sold two. I got two customers. So for every customer, we will have some small happiness get together, or you talk about that, okay, what was the experience of that person who bought this, and how can you ensure that this person is happy so that the third, fourth, and fifth comes. So these are some of the things that when you are on a low, then you have to look at even the smallest of the win you must celebrate. So the more you are positive, the more you are celebrating things, the more successful come to you. So what is very critical and important is that the moment when you're on a high, everything is looking great, but when it's very difficult when it is a low. But then in the low also you have to figure out that what is it that you achieved which should be celebrated. So I think the most important thing is the celebration mode. The moment you are into the celebration mode, you will be happy. And for the stress busters, everybody has their own. So for me it is like pursuing my hobbies, singing, or astrology reading and astrological advices. So I indulge in all of this. So that's what engages. The moment you, in fact, hobbies is something. The moment you get into your hobby, your mind is stress free. And
Absolutely.
whether you are playing your guitar at the time playing guitar or you're singing, you are in your voice. You are not thinking about how many orders you lost and how many orders you gained. So
Very
that
true.
is what is important. It's like your mind has to become empty and it has to be focused onto something 100%, and that can only happen when you're pursuing your hobbies. So I,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
in the relaxed time, I
Absolutely.
sing, I do all of this, take out my books, see the horoscope of somebody, give them some advices, and then you feel very relaxed and you're again back to,
And back to work again. Yeah, actually, I have it. I have the saying on my table, and enjoy the little things.
oh, great.
So that's why I was like, as you were saying it, I was like, we already align that way as well. My
Absolutely.
next question was going to be about your hobbies. Any unexpected hobbies or interests? But I think I get that you enjoy singing a lot. Any
Yeah.
particular type of song or?
I love Kishore Kumar, so I do enjoy his songs. I do yodeling and all of that. So I really love his voice. So in my school days, there was a very interesting incident that happened. I was, like I said, I was a very naughty child. So there was a in the weekend there was a singing competition happening, and a team came into my class and started saying, who are the people nominated from this class for the singing. So I said, write his name. He's a very good singer. Oh, she sings very well. Write her name and all that. And the teacher said, write his name. He has to sing this time. I said, no, I never sing. I've never sung. Till that time, I never sung in any singing place. I used to just sing in my house or in the bathroom, but never outside. And so, but my name was given, and I. So in the first place, I prepared a song by Yashudas, sung by Yashudas, very classical song, and I was
Hmm.
very nervous, and I sat through the Saturday, and my turn never came that Saturday. So I went back, oh, one more week of stress. Now next week I have to sing. And in between, one of my cousins came and he sang a very interesting song, of Kishore Kumar. And I loved that. If I can sing this, it will be awesome. And then I learned that song, and I never even heard the original song by that time. And then I sang into the competition. I got a first prize in the school, and I was like proclaimed as the best singer and all of that. So that changed my life completely, and everywhere I used to go, and I was like, he's a singer. In fact, that day when they said, "Oh, you won the first prize," sang another song, and I didn't even know which second song to sing. But that song was so interesting. He said, "Okay, now sing that only." So I sang that song the second time, and that's how So it's a
I
interest.
think that's the entrepreneurial element, in you. I'll tell you because even because I can see a little bit of similarity with myself as well. When I went to school in Clark University in Boston.
Mm,
So there we had this Indian association. So they were looking for singers. So I had never really. I mean, I enjoy singing, just like anything. But then they were looking for singers, and then they said, "Acha Devika, tum ga lo." I said, "Yaar, I don't know that many Hindi songs." So then my friend, a very good friend of mine, she said, "Yaar, main sikha dungi tujhe, chal." I said, "Okay." So then she was singing this song, "Ajeeb Dasta Hai Ye."
ah,
Then she said, I had never heard that song before. I'm from Bengal, but we've somehow grown up hearing Robindra Songit most of the time. That's what was allowed in my house. So yeah. So then I picked up the song from her, and then sang on stage. I was like, what the hell, TK, chal ga lete hain, no problem. So that's why I think it was just that it's again, I think it's just that mindset that we carry pretty much in every sphere of life.
absolutely.
So I think that's why I feel that entrepreneurial mindset is more a life skill than anything to do with business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I really love the culture here in Bengal. The kind of extracurricular activities that is being given for every childhood. There's options available, and almost every child has that talent, whether singing or dancing or whatever dramatics. So and so many skill sets, the drawing and all that. So that is something which I think nationally or internationally we should do at the child's stage, and that gives you a lot more options to deal with in the future in your life.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. 100%. Now, if you had to pick a moment that defined your professional path, what would that be?
I would say that, I shared with you about my shifting from an automobile to IT industry and launching that telecom business. That was the
That would
defining moment where, even I was not sure what I'm going to do. And then I found out what needs to be done. And then it became so successful that everybody talks about it. And I think that was a defining moment for me, going into a different industry and making it successful.
Wonderful. Now, what is your ultimate vision for DSPIN and your personal journey?
Yeah, I think now there are a lot of achievements already, so I don't want to. My view is that now it should make an impact on to the society, like something to do where a lot of resources are required for making an impact to the society. But I feel that enough has been given to me. Now I have to give it back to the world. So that is what I is the phase that I'm in, and that's where I'm thinking on Dspin to contribute to various startups and they become successful. And we, at the same time, our dreams that we have, that how can we make impact on others' life, all of that, whether it is girl child education or animal welfare, women empowerment. So these are things that I feel that ultimately in the next 10, 15, 20 years, I have to make a big difference in these areas, which will really give us immense satisfaction, not just the money.
Fantastic. Let's jump on to some rapid fire.
Yeah, sure.
Oh. One word that describes your leadership style.
Optimism.
Fantastic. If you could be the CEO of any other company for a day, which one would that be?
I would say a company like Ford, which went back from India. Uh, if it
Okay.
becomes that, I will make it them successful in India.
Fantastic. Ford would love to know that. In a movie about your life, who would play you?
My friend R. Madhavan, he should be playing me. Yeah.
Oh, cool. One book you would recommend to every aspiring entrepreneur.
I think Seven Habits of Successful People.
That's a
That's
good one.
something which is a very nice book.
That's a very, very, very nice book. Absolutely. What's your go-to productivity hack?
I already shared that with you. The go-to productivity hack is that, small win celebration.
Mm, right.
The moment you have that, your productivity increases to do
Mm,
more.
mm, true, true. What's your guilty pleasure when it comes to food?
I love all the high calorie items, whether chole bhature or samosas and gulab jamuns and all. So that's my problem. I try to.
Okay. Perfect weekend in 3 words.
Come again, please.
Perfect weekend in 3 words. Describe your perfect weekend in 3 words.
Relax with family.
Nice. First thing you do if you win a lottery.
First thing I will do is that we'll have 1% of that lottery. I'm assuming that's a big amount. So 1% would be a celebration part. And then, 50% to contribute to the society, and the rest 49% goes into an investment so that we can continue to contribute to the society.
Love that. Absolutely. Fantastic. Unlimited free time or unlimited money?
Unlimited free time.
What was the last book you read that you absolutely loved?
Oh, autobiography of a yogi.
Ah, okay, okay. And what's that one professional goal you're still striving to achieve, if there's one?
Yeah, to make DSpin a big name and be able to contribute substantially to the industry.
Wonderful.
Through DSpin.
Lastly, if you have to pick a theme song for your life, what would it be?
Theme song is मैं हूँ झुम 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 झुमरू बीती रातों पे धूल उड़ाता चला.
That's a good one. That has that upbeat optimism element in it as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Manzil
Now,
pe meri nazar, that song is very meaningful. Manzil pe meri nazar, मैं दुनिया से बेखबर, बीती बातों पे धूल उड़ाता चला. So what has happened. Forget about that. Always look at what is the future, and what I can do now is something that you enjoy.
wow, that is absolutely a very powerful one. Is that one at that? Absolutely. Now, if I had to ask you about your life mantra, which I usually ask everyone, what would that be? Like, how would you describe your life mantra, your philosophy of life, just in general?
In general, how can we be of use to others? Always think about that. How can we make something others successful? The moment you do that, you automatically become a leader. You
Mhm.
have people around, you have companies there, and you say, okay, I will make your company successful, I'll make you successful. And the moment you start doing that, you automatically become a big leader. So that's something is a hack that I would say.
Absolutely. Fantastic. It was such an awesome conversation, Pankaj. I've really enjoyed talking to you. And we'll be in touch for the other project as well that I mentioned.